Dad! Dad! Welcome back to JTac Ranch's YouTube channel. Eric, Ben here. Today we're going to talk about when your gear sucks. And I've had a lot of people come to me in the past, Eric as well, I'm sure, say, hey, what kind of gear should I get for this, or what should I buy? And you try to lead them down the right path. You say all this stuff that's going to save them money and time, and then they go do the exact opposite of what you're telling them to do. Which is fine, it's a free country, but I guarantee you, if you watch this video and you listen to us, because we've spent a lot of money, we've used a lot of gear, we're gonna save you some real heartache in the long run. And we have some points to cover in this video that are kind of general, but it's gonna allow you guys to ask more questions down in the comments below if you have something specific in mind. Okay, let's talk about price. Everybody starts out with price, everybody's budgets are different. Some people think the most expensive piece of gear is going to do the job. Some think they just want that, what's that common phrase everyone says?
Oh, buy once, cry once.
Or just good enough.
Just good enough.
Just good enough, yeah. So, price point. What would you say to people about price point?
Don't let price deceive you, okay? So if it's super cheap, it's probably got a reason for why it's super cheap. If it's super expensive, it might not mean that it's the best. So don't just go off of price to determine what's good quality gear.
Yeah, we see guys come onto the range, they're just dripping in all the Gucci kit. I mean, they didn't spare a coin. They spent all their Biden bucks on the best gear, and it's either falling apart or not working as advertised.
Yeah, and they're really just frustrated by the end of the day because they paid the money for it, and they're really trying to make it work because they spent a lot of money. So they're trying to make something work that isn't really working for them. On
the opposite end of the spectrum, you see guys spend bottom dollar trying to get away with gear that's probably not well made, made overseas, made for airsoft type environments, not hard use environments, even though the MilSim arena is really starting to catch up with the firearms industry as far as the quality goes there. But you'll see a lot of guys come on and they're gonna just spend the least amount on their gear.
I think it's just a lack of importance in their mindset when they're doing the research. They spend a lot of money on the gun, but think, I'm just gonna get a holster, like whatever, some sort of nylon, Uncle Mike's, whatever. And they end up becoming more frustrated and thinking maybe I need to, try a different gun or try something else, when really it's just the equipment that is just terrible.
Yeah, and frustration being one point, but sometimes they might just be unsafe with subpar gear. Yeah. Or they're going to end up spending more money in the long run because they have to go buy more gear after figuring out this wasn't good enough. The next point is MilSpec. MilSpec gets tossed around a lot. Some people buy certain things, pieces of gear, and this is everything from belts, nylon, guns, optics. When we're talking about gear, they'll see MilSpec or see military personnel using it and think, aha, that's exactly what I need to have.
Coming from a military background, just remember, the government is going to pay bottom dollar for the vast majority. So MilSpec is not something that you want to judge your standards by. Most of the special operations community will go to private companies in the military for high quality gear. They don't go with MilSpec. So don't let MilSpec be something that's deceitful to you and just say, oh yeah, man, it's good enough for the military, it's a standard. No, absolutely not.
This next topic is my favorite because I think it's one of the biggest drivers for gear, what people spend money on, and that is culture. IG, YouTube, Call of Duty,
the dudes,
relatives, friends, all this information being tossed around in culture about what you need to get, what's not good. It muddies the waters a lot, and sometimes it's good because you're getting people interested in the topic of firearms and gear and kit. That's awesome. But again, there's a lot of misinformation out there when we're talking about culture. What is your least favorite culture driver for gear? Is it YouTube? Is it Call of Duty? What is it?
I would probably say a mixture of Call of Duty and Instagram, because a lot of people they'll look at pictures of cool guys, mostly military dudes on the internet, and go like, that's what I want, when they don't realize that those guys are probably wearing gear that's specific for a certain job.
Yep.
It's not specifically for shooting. It could be geared towards that, but their perception of what is right, or what is right for them per se, is misconstrued. So don't let that culture drive you. Go to your range, go find the guys that shoot a lot, and see what are you running for kit to run the gun fast and accurate.
We're on YouTube right now.
Yeah.
Don't just take our word for it either. You got to cross-reference this stuff. Don't just use one source. Again, there are a lot of good sources out there that are going to point you in the right direction for gear. There's also a lot that are not so great. So culture is another big driver. Don't fall into that trap and think, oh, I need to be keeping up with the Joneses. I need to look like so-and-so on IG. I need to look like that character in Call of Duty. Just don't fall for that trap.
Yeah, and my last point about culture is you have to also add to the culture. Be you. Let your personality shine in this community. We need more of that. We need less of people trying to copy others.
It's okay to have your own style.
Yeah, I mean, once you get the kit that you like, and then you start configuring your own setup to match your personality, that's what we want to see in the community, and that's what needs to be run.
Next point on why your gear might suck is design. There's a lot of bad designs out there. I mean, people come up with stuff that I think they're trying to solve a problem that doesn't exist. You see holsters with really bad retention, handguns falling out of holsters. You see stuff that doesn't fit right on people. Design is another big reason that gear doesn't work, or the gear you have might not work.
Yeah, I mean, understand everything has a give and take, right? So if I want speed, I'm probably going to have less retention, maybe not even a lock. But if I try running around and stuff like that,
climbing walls, going through tubes,
that pistol's coming out.
In addition to that, we'll see gear that's old and worn out. The design might have been good at one time, but it's 20, 25 years old. I'm sure you see that a lot.
Absolutely. I mean, there's a lot of gear that's really good out there that's, I would guess, considered old by some people, like Eagle Industries or early Global War on Terror type stuff that was coming out really innovative.
Yeah.
What we're talking about is like trying to combine a web belt with a Safariland holster.
Yeah.
Or an Alice type gear, or something like my Uncle Jimmy, who used to be in the Army in the 70s, gave this to me, so I'm going to try it out. Yeah, get updated.
Segueing off that point of design for gear, we're going to talk about lack of necessary gear. That's why your gear might suck. You might be trying to put a square peg in a round hole. You don't have the right gear, or you're trying to make do with less.
Something that we see pretty often is guys running belts and don't have enough pouches to even hold all their mags. So they're shoving mags in pockets, they're shoving equipment in pockets, or trying to use their cargo pocket as a dump pouch, and then it just really hinders their performance when they're trying to shoot in the range.
When we're talking about lack of necessary gear, you'll hear a lot of people say, well, I just have a do-all kit. One kit to do everything, one gun to do everything. And we know you need the right tool for the job. That's not always the case. You can't get away with one kit for everything.
Yeah, I mean, it's a really attractive idea to have just one piece of gear because it's really good on the money, right? It's a good price, it's a good bargain to get one thing that can do everything. Yeah. Like you've got the placards that can be chest rigs, but also body armor. There's specific pieces of equipment that do certain jobs best. If you remember the phrase, hey, you can be a jack of all trades, master of none, or you can have gear that's a master of one, right? So a master of one specific role, and you have numerous different pieces of kit. This is something a lot of the military guys that do a lot of special stuff, they'll have a cage full of all different types of gear for different jobs, and they do really good at those specific roles.
And that's another big reason why right now in this market you see a lot of modularity, because people want to be able to take something off, add something in that is a good fit for the role they are going to need it for. So if you're shopping around, look for stuff that's modular, because you don't know, maybe 2 months down the line, you might need a different pouch there, or you pick up a different gun at the gun shop. You might need another kit or another piece of kit on the left side instead of the right side. Stuff changes constantly. Modularity is an awesome thing, and when we get pigeonholed into one piece of gear, we end up lacking and not having the necessary gear for other things when we're on the range. Last but not least, too much gear. Sometimes you got guys coming out on the range, it looks like a 511 store just vomited all over them. They have everything hanging off of them. Every slot on their kit is filled. They don't care if they need it or not. If it's an empty slot, they're filling it.
Yeah, you don't want to be a traveling gypsy wagon. You want to make sure if I've got empty molly, it's okay to leave it empty. You don't have to throw a pouch on there, and before you know it, you got more balloons on your vest than you know what to do with.
Yeah.
So just leave things slick. The slicker you are, the more maneuverable you can be.
Yeah, don't burden yourself down for no reason. You don't need to. And along the same lines, you get into these gear guys now that are collectors.
Yeah, oh gosh.
Like there's some real rare pieces of kit out there. It's sometimes in this market, in this economy, it's tough to find certain things, and it drives up the price and it makes it a little bit more rare, but some guys are just buying this and acquiring it just to have it.
Yeah, and the collector's world is really, I mean, that's a rabbit hole you can really dive into. So if you're looking for gear, just kind of like don't look at the collector's pricing for certain pieces of kit. They're usually buying it because of historical reference. What you want to do is find something that's a good deal, good quality, and also has been recommended to you. So don't be a collector. Otherwise, there's so much money more you could buy, and that's like training. You
Yes,
spend your money on
ammo and training, not collecting gear. Okay, this video was about why your gear might suck. And when we're talking about gear, that's a very general term. This can cover plate carriers, pants, socks, shoes, guns, optics, lights, lasers. You could apply this video to all sorts of firearms gear. What we're trying to do is help you out here, save you some money, save you some time, save you some heartache. At the end of the day, experience beats gear. You could come out with all the right gear. Everything's right, you did your homework, but if you don't have experience using it, if you don't have range time, it's all for naught.
The other good thing about training with your kit is you won't know what's wrong until you actually take it out and use it. I mean, I've had so many times I've reconfigured my gear because I'm like, that looks like a good idea, and I'm going to put it right there in that spot, that pouch. And as soon as I run, I'm like, that is miserable. I hate my life.
Yeah.
But I would never know that had I not gone out and trained and put rounds downrange. So,
Guys, really appreciate you watching this video. Leave us a comment down below. What do you commonly see on the range that is a big gear mistake? We want to hear from you guys. We want to talk with you. If you are interested in shooting out here at JTAC Ranch, go to jtacranch.com. That's the best way to get all the information about becoming a member here. This place is a shooter's paradise. It is for the modern day shooter, and we want to train with and help out as many of those modern day shooters as we can.
yep, we'll see you at the ranch.